There are mangas so insanely detailed and beautifully drawn that people just gave up on never seeing them properly animated. One Punch Man was supposed to be one of those, but then season 1 dropped and it changed everything. It was clean, cinematic, and instantly iconic. So why? Why am I watching one frame right now? So we'll be going through all 3 seasons to find out how the animation of a masterpiece completely fell apart. And just to make it clear, this isn't the animators or the director's fault. But before we roast season 3, let's rewind a bit because none of this would have existed without one man, literally one. The guy who created One Punch Man in the most humble way possible and somehow built an empire from stick figures. Back in 2009, One began publishing One Punch Man on his personal website. The idea was simple, create a hero who's already reached the peak of strength, so instead of watching him grow, we'd watch how the world reacts around him. Saitama wasn't fighting for survival or destiny, his biggest enemy was boredom or missing the supermarket sale. If you've seen one other work, Mob Psycho 100, you already know that this man is a master at telling deep emotional stories disguised as absurd comedies. So it's no surprise, One Punch Man blew up online. There was just one problem though, one couldn't draw for shit. Luckily, one of the most talented manga artists alive, Murata Yosuke, noticed his work. The two teamed up and the manga adaptation of One Punch Man was born. Murata's involvement changed everything. He quickly became the face of One Punch Man. This was the guy known for Eyeshield 21, a beast when it comes to dynamic art and insane pattern composition. So when he redrew One Punch Man, it went from a rough sketchy webcomic to a visual masterpiece. Every punch, every explosion, every single page felt alive. It was like the manga itself had motion, and naturally everyone loved it. What started as a humble webcomic turned into one of the best looking manga of its time, and with a level of hype, an anime adaptation was basically inevitable. So the real question was, who had the guts to take on One Punch Man and actually do it justice? Enter Studio Madhouse, the same studio behind Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, Parasite, and a lot more of other classics. If anyone could turn Murata God tier art into animation, it was them, but the problem was, the studio at that point were past their prime. Madhouse was legendary, they defined anime in the 2000s, but by the time One Punch Man season 1 came around, their golden era had already cooled down. They lost some of their key directors and animators. People like Masao Moriyama, the founder, had already left to start his new studio, one by the name of MAPPA, and the studio itself was going through production troubles, less funding, fewer hits, and tighter schedules. So when they took One Punch Man, expectations were high, but Madhouse themselves were past their peak glory days. Still great, just not the unstoppable force that once gave us Death Note and Hunter x Hunter. So they pivoted. Instead of relying on their usual stuff, they went all in, pulling in freelancers and top tier animators from all over the world, with token industry legends who worked on Attack on Titan, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Naruto, and especially Space Dead. They basically assembled both the Avengers and the Justice League for this project, and it paid off big time. From the very first episode, you could tell this wasn't just another shonen adaptation, this was art in motion. Every punch hit like a meteor, every flame looked straight out of Murata panels, and every fight felt like they were flexing. The animation didn't just match the manga, it elevated it. Saitama effortless movements, the chaotic battles, that insane Boris fight at the end, all of it became legendary. One Punch Man season 1 wasn't just a hit, it was a global phenomenon. The visuals went viral, the memes exploded, and suddenly everyone, even people who've never watched anime before, were watching a bald guy one-shot monsters for fun. And everybody was wondering the same thing. When is season 2? We're done. Yeah, we're not doing that shit again. Madhouse is out, what are we supposed to do now? Don't worry about it, I already got someone else for the job. Oh my god. After One Punch Man season 1 wrapped, everyone expected Madhouse to return for the sequel, but that never happened. Madhouse didn't own the rights to the anime. The series was produced by a committee led by Shueisha, so they had the final say on who made what. And also Madhouse was swamped, they were juggling other projects, many of the top animators had already moved on, and the director Shingo Natsumi, the real mastermind behind season 1 crazy animation, was busy with Boogie Bob, Sunny Boy, and other projects. So when it was time for season 2, Madhouse simply couldn't commit to the same level of production, so a studio by the name of GC Staff had to take over. The best description I've heard about GC Staff is that every time they take a new project, God flips a coin. You either get a Toradora or a Psychic K, or you get One Punch Man season 2. Everything that made season 1 legendary was gone. The crazy flowed animation, gone. The insane fight direction, gone. The energy, the intensity, the flicks, all replaced with static shots, awkward zooms, and fight scenes that look like this. It's not like the studio were lazy, they just didn't have the same time, budget, or manpower Madhouse had. Most of their in-house staff were already busy working on Food Wars at the time, so One Punch Man ended up being handled by a smaller team and a rushed production schedule. And you can feel it, every scene that should have been epic just isn't. The punches don't hit, the fights don't flow, even the camera work feels stiff. And worst of all, the sense of impact that made season 1 so addictive was completely gone. Season 2 looked like One Punch Man, but it didn't feel like it. At that point, anime fans gave up on the show, returning to its former glory. There is until 3 years later, season 3 was announced and hope was once again returned. After what happened with season 2, we need to be back with a bang. Don't worry about it, I already got someone else for the job. Oh, motherfucker! GC stuff was back for season 3. There were rumors that Mappa was gonna take over, but those got shut down faster than my bold gold can end the fight. Still, people were hyped. This was the Monster Association arc, the one when Murata went insane and gave us some of the most iconic battles in modern manga. I told one of my friends not to get his hopes up and he called me the R-word. That's how excited people were. Then episode 1 dropped. No! I swear half of the season looked like a PowerPoint presentation with sound effects. There are entire scenes where characters are just standing still, talking, staring, breathing, anything but moving. Here's a scene of Garu sliding down a hill. This is not hard, I could do this. And don't even get me started on some of the character designs. Everyone looks like the same characters from the manga, but with a blood deficiency disease. Is that really the same Atomic Samurai from the manga? Because the dude looks like he hasn't slept, eaten or touched sunlight in 2 years. This is not even me hating on the animators, you can tell the stuff cares. The storyboarding is better and the art has moments where it actually shines. But this is the Monster Association arc, it's supposed to be pure chaos, the kind of stuff that makes your jaw drop every chapter in the manga. This whole production screams rushed and underfunded, that's why I don't condone harassing the director or the animators. Most of the time, it's not even their fault, they're just trying to survive impossible deadlines while still making next to shit. Seriously, if you're the type to send death threats because your favorite manga didn't get the adaptation you imagined, I got one thing to say to you, let's get a job. So yeah, why did One Punch Man animation fall off? Honestly, I think the better question is, why was it so damn good in the first place? Because when you really look at it, season 1 wasn't just good animation, it was a miracle, the kind of once in a life alignment of talent, timing and pure passion that almost never happens in the industry. That first season didn't just happen because Madhouse made it, it happened because the right people were in the right place at the right time. You had a director who loved the source material, animators who treated every fight like a flex, and a production that gave them just enough freedom to go wild. But the problem with Miracle is, they never last. Once season 1 ended, that entire dream team scattered, most of the key animators went back to other projects and Madhouse moved on. So when GC stuff took over, they weren't just following up a hit, they were trying to recreate something that was never meant to be replicated. And that's why One Punch Man animation didn't just fall off, it crashed under the weight of its own perfection. Still, in a world where random isekai slaps looks this good, and rom-coms suddenly have movie tier production, One Punch Man deserved better. This was supposed to be the gold standard, the series that reminded everyone how hype animation can make a story hit 10 times harder. Instead, it became a case study of what happens when passion meets production reality. It went from the most beautifully animated flex in anime history to wherever season 3 is trying to be. Maybe the real punchline is that One Punch Man became the very thing it used to parody, another overhyped and delivered anime. But even if the animation fell off, One Punch Man legacy didn't, cause the manga is still more insane than ever, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not reading it. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.